It's the Fort Hays State University Coaches Show on Eagle Community Television, brought to you by Eagle Communications.
Hello once again, and welcome to another edition of Tiger Talk. This is Gerard Walbrock. We'll be joined by Fort Hays State head football coach Chris Brown to recap, well, one of the biggest wins certainly in recent history for Fort Hays State, knocking off the 8th-ranked Pittsburg State Gorillas in Pittsburgh 7-6 on Saturday afternoon in front of over 11,000, third largest crowd in Pitt State history. And the home folks go home unhappy with a big Tiger win. Their first over Pitt since '78. Their first in Pittsburgh since 1976, just their second win over a nationally ranked opponent since joining the MIAA in 2006, and their first over a top 10 team. So it was certainly a big win for the Tigers. It moves them to 3-1 on the year and certainly changes the complexion of the season with another big game coming up this Saturday afternoon in Topeka against a Washburn-Ichabod team that has struggled somewhat. The Ichabods 1-3 after losing at Missouri Southern this past Saturday. So we'll talk about the Gorillas, look ahead to the Washburn-Ichabods this Saturday when we return. Tiger Talk brought to you once again by the great folks at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine, where the fire's always burning. Head coach Chris Brown joins us next when we return right here on Tiger Talk. Hi, I'm Gerard Walbrock, voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, inviting you to join me for Tiger Talk. Airs Monday nights from 6 until 6:30 on Tiger Radio Mix 103, and then the video replay on Eagle Cable Channel 14 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We'll talk Fort Hays State football with head coach Chris Brown, preview the last game, and look ahead to the next week's action on Tiger Talk. Monday night, 6 till 6:30 on Tiger Radio Mix 103 and on Eagle Cable Channel 14. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Walbrock and head football coach Chris Brown. The program brought to you once again by the great folks at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine in Hays, where the fire's always burning. As always, half-price appetizers, 8 until close every night of the week at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill. Coach, I don't know where to start other than congratulations. A heck of a win. I know we talked a lot over the last couple of years as the program continues to make strides, starting to play well against teams that you feel you're on even par with or maybe better than, and the next step is starting to knock off one of the big boys in the conference, and your team did that on Saturday.
You know, all week we try not to make it a big deal. You know, we didn't talk about it being number 8. We didn't talk about we hadn't beat them for 35, 36, 37 years. You know, we didn't talk about any of those things to our kids. You know, we talked about it's going to be a hostile environment. They're going to have a big jumbotron. Their fans are going to be loud. And we just talked about, worried about what's on the field, and that's it, And, our kids did that. I first walked out there, it was loud and crazy, and I pointed to one side, don't worry about that side, don't worry about that side, don't worry about the jumbotron, just worry about this. And our kids did that. Stay focused, stay locked in, played hard, played physical, and, they came away with the win. I'm very proud of the way these kids performed and the things that they did, and just their character and the way they did it. And
handling the environment, I know, is key. And they did just that. They stayed focused, and just hearing Joey Taei after the game, just talking about he was ready to play, he was excited to play, and in some cases that environment maybe helps as well.
It does, and our kids have never been there. We haven't been there since I've been here, and so it's my 4th year. First year they came here and beat us on our home field. So I guess it was time for us to kind of go repay them. But our guys were excited, they were fired up, they knew what was going to happen. We kind of prepared them for it. And they knew it was a good football team. And before the game, they were talking about just play your best, do everything you can do possible to win this game, and let's see what happens. And then all week we preached that we're going to come home with a win. And, I don't think they're going to settle for anything less.
When we talked about it on the radio, one of the keys, take the crowd out of it and survive early, because Pitt in the first 3 games jumped out early on their opponents. And your team did just that. You had the crazy score to get you on the board early. It was 11,000 plus, their third largest crowd. That was probably the quietest 11,000 I've ever heard.
And that's what I told our kids, we just kind of, keep it close, don't give them any momentum, don't let them have any big plays. That's what their fans are used to. And, defensively we did that. We made them earn everything that they had, and, they made a few mistakes, and we capitalized those on defense. And then offensively, really slowed the game down. And to give their crowd a chance to really get involved in the game, because we slowed it down so much. And it was probably really boring for them because we did slow it down so much. So we kind of kept the the crowd out of the game, which helps us, in the long run, and it worked out well for us.
And you have to be happy with the way your team stuck to the game plan. I would think on both sides of the football.
Yeah, I am, and we kept preaching it, all week, and we even practiced it in practice this week. Put the 40-second clock out there, let it get down to 5, snap the ball, and get a few first downs, and just take time off the clock, and defensively keep it all in front. I think we gave up one big play of 30 yards. I think was the biggest play they had, and that probably shouldn't have happened as well, but it did. But our kids bounced back from it, got the ball back, and did some great things. But they stuck with it and did what we asked them to do, and you can't ask for more than that.
And that's something I think that stands out. They handled the adversity within the game, and you mentioned that big pass play, and that was about the time you thought, uh-oh, maybe here it goes. You had a chance to possibly scoop up a fumble and score and go up by 8, and then the very next play they hit a big pass across the middle, got into midfield, but team responded, got the stop after that.
And it's something we preach about all the time, handling adversity, what are you going to do? And, they handled it very, very well this week. I mean, there was times in that game you're like, all right, we got some adversity going on here. Well, how are our kids going to respond? And they responded in a positive manner and, kept playing hard and making things happen and never quit, and they never gave up. And you could just tell, they were there to win that game. They're going to do everything possible to win that game, and, they did it.
You got to like that attitude coming into it. I guess it's a sign of this team and this program growing up a little bit, where you can go into a game like Pittsburgh State on the road and know that if they play to their capabilities, they have every chance of winning.
Yeah, they do. They're maturing. They're maturing as a group, and it's good for us to get a win like this because now our young kids see it. Now you start believing, hey, yeah, maybe we are one of the top teams in this conference, but it's still tough. We still got a lot of games ahead of us. It's only one game, and we still got to go back to work this week and get ourselves better because there's still a lot of mistakes that we got to correct and fix.
I want to ask you about the only touchdown. Oddly enough, the only score of the game. It was a wacky play, obviously very controversial. It probably depends on which side of the fence you look at it. But who would have thought that play would be the only score on that entire day from a touchdown perspective?
Never would have thought that. It was a crazy play. When you watch it on film, it's probably a play that will not get overturned. Because it's hard to see. It looks like the defender has possession, is taking a couple steps. Ed does a good job of punching it out, and then land on top of it in the end zone and scoring a touchdown. So if you're on the other side of the fence, hey, he didn't have control. He popped it out quick. And it should just be an incomplete pass. But we'll take it. Our defense hung in there well. Only gave up 2 field goals, and 7-6 win. I'll take a 1-point win any day.
Tigers get the big win Saturday over Pittsburgh State. As the coach mentioned, 7-6. They're at Washburn this Saturday. We'll talk more about that game this week coming up later in the program. We'll take a quick break. Be back with more on Tiger Talk, presented by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill. Back with more right after the break. Welcome back to Tiger Talk, presented by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine, where the fire's always burning. And check out all your favorite drinks at the bar. Over 200 selections to choose from to go along with those half-price appetizers every night of the week at Whiskey Creek. Gerard Wellbrock, head football coach Chris Brown, recapping a big Tiger win Saturday in Pittsburgh, 7-6 over the 8th-ranked Gorillas. And got to talk about the defense, and we've heard all year this has a chance to be a good defense. There's a little bit more depth on that side of the ball, and boy, did they show it on Saturday. You got to be so proud of those guys. I don't know if they can play much better.
No, they can.
Well,
there's still some mistakes in there that when we watch film, we got to get those things corrected. But they really played physical. They swarmed with the football. They created turnovers. Defensive line, that's the best I've seen them play, I think, since I've been here. They just dominated that front line. Got some pressure on the quarterback. When your D-line's doing that, you don't have to do a lot defensively. And, they got enough pressure that we basically set in, zone coverage all day and let our guys break on the balls and get to the balls and allow our linebackers to run on the run plays. And, they created havoc for their offense. I think they got their quarterback a little bit out of balance, got their run game out of balance a little bit. And, credit goes to our D-line and the way they played that game because they really took ownership and did a great job in that game.
4 sacks, but sacks don't always tell the story. A lot of times it's just get back there and disrupt and push a quarterback out of his comfort zone, as you kind of alluded to. It looked like you did that.
Yeah, and he was out of his comfort zone all day, and we knew who they wanted to hit. They wanted to go to number 9 a lot with their pass game, and that was our focus. Take 9 away, take the quarterback out, take Seabold out of the game as well. With his run game, and our guys did that. They focused on the things that we talked about in practice, and did a great job with it. And the one play where we manned up Lindsey on number 9, that was a last-minute decision, the day before, and our kids learned it very quickly and did a good job of adjusting and understanding what we were wanting done, and I'm just impressed with the way they played all around.
3 of the 4 sacks by Joita Te'e. It just seemed like he was in the backfield all day long, and he was going up against Tyler Brown, the Southern Miss transfer, and he was obviously banged up a little bit, and they had to take him out because there was no way he was going to be able to contain Joita.
No, he did a great job. I mean, G took ownership. I mean, he was wanting to make a statement, that he can play, and he did. I mean, that's the Joita I've been looking for since day one. And 3 sacks,
yeah,
tackle for a loss,
yeah,
had some pressures, I'm sure, some other tackles. I mean, the kid played tremendous, and Tomasi played tremendous. Jesse Trent did some great things. Their numbers might not show, but the double teams they were taking down and creating, just let our linebackers run free and our secondary, do the things that they need to do, and that's break on balls and make tackles. I mean, they just took care of it up front. You
always hear in basketball, the first 5 minutes of the second half, sometimes the most important, really sets the tone. They got the ball to start the second half, and you kind of figured they were going to the locker room, regroup a little bit, maybe come out a little bit more focused, and you kind of held your breath, and you forced the 3 and out. Joita got back-to-back sacks. I think you hold them to -1 net offensive in the third quarter and only 80 yards of total offense in the entire second half. But I thought that first possession of the second half really set the tone for you guys.
And when I look at this game, I think it's kind of like us, in our first game. We got down a little bit. We stressed. We played tight, and we just didn't start. We just kind of fell apart a little bit. And I think Pitt did that. We were relaxed. We were comfortable. We were playing our game. And they feel a little pressure, and then sometimes when you feel pressure, things don't work the way you want them to. And our guys did a great job that first few series, holding the -1 in the third quarter, and they just set the tone early, and they continued to roll through the fourth quarter.
I think even more impressive, you're down 3 starters on offense, 1 by injury, 2 by suspension, and to still do what you did with 3 starters out. I don't know if a lot of teams can overcome that sometimes.
Our defense did a good job. They knew it was going to happen. We talked about it through the week, and DeAndre James did a great job of stepping in and doing playing safety the way it was supposed to be played. He ran downhill, made some nice tackles. I think he was our leading tackler on defense with 8 or 9 tackles, and ran the alley well. Did some good job on a play action. He almost got beat on one play action, but they didn't see it because Joita got the pressure needed, so the quarterback didn't have time. And they did good. Dumas was down, and so we had. Dunnigan came in, did a good job. You saw Karsten in the game. He did a very, very good job. And then our D-line without, Mike Terry, they stepped up and still played a very great game.
Those 2 had to sit out, Mike Jordan and Michael Terry. Any update on their status?
They should be good to go this week. Broke team rules and a violation of team rules, and you got to punish kids for doing those things. But it's another type of adversity that our kids overcame, and very proud of the way these kids have responded to everything that we've done with them.
Tigers get the big win. We'll talk more about it and look ahead to Washburn when we return. Tiger Talk, again, presented by the great folks at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine in Hayes, where the fire's always burning. More Tiger Talk right after this. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Walbrock, Fort Hays State head football coach Chris Brown. The program brought to you by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill. And you need a place to hold your next office gathering, maybe a party. Check out Whiskey Creek. They've got the room in back. Also, catering. They can cater your next maybe work function or family event coming up. And, of course, never too early to think about the holidays. They'll be upon us soon. So if you need a catering, check out Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine, where the fire's always burning. Offensively, only 7 points. It was kind of an odd play. Now, some of the numbers are skewed because that was a big pass, and you don't get any yardage on that play, but did just enough. They sustained enough drives. You got enough first downs. Obviously, you want a lot more production offensively, but in this particular game, they did just enough to do what you need to do to win.
And they have been, doing enough to, to get some things going. And, we still need to score some more points offensively. I'm going to change some things this week, try to do a little bit more with Travion, out of the pocket and just make him feel comfortable. And, that touchdown is all we needed, but, they did a good job of letting the clock run down, took a lot of time off the clock, didn't give their offense the ball right back, gave our defense a chance to get rested and get ready to play again, for another 4 or 5 plays, and did a good job. They did enough just for us to win that ball game. And it's a team effort, and that's all we talk about. We win and lose as a team, and it doesn't matter if we win by 1 point or if we win by 30 points. We'll take a win as a team.
And it's kind of surprising in a game like that. There was only 2 plays of 25 or more yards. You mentioned the one they had. You had a big one, I think, on Fort Hays State's first possession of the second half that got it out to midfield and kind of flipped some field position. Kind of surprising to see a game in college football this day and age with only 2 total plays of over 25 yards.
It is. You don't see it very often. A lot of plays. It's all about big plays these days. I mean, 40 points here, 50 points. I like the low-scoring games. I'm a defensive guy. I like the defensive
Not
battles.
surprised.
You know, I like to see those things and which defense is gonna, give up the big play first. And we did. But Travion's one where he broke it there. If he just goes instead of looks back, he might score on that. Then we had another play set up where we missed one block, and Ed Williams is running down free down the middle. If we could just got that play off, it probably would have been another touchdown for us too. So we're looking at 2 scores we probably should have had. But we're just a block away, and just getting downhill and going. We probably should have at least 21 points.
Talk about the offensive line. I thought, considering who they were going against, that's a pretty good defensive front four for Pitt State. They did a pretty good job.
They have a tremendous defense, and just doing the things that they were able to do against that defense was tremendous. I mean, they haven't given up hardly any points this year. We're the first ones that scored against their first defense, and they're tremendous. I mean, they got team speed on the D-line. They got team speed in the secondary. I mean, their secondary guys are huge. Their linebackers, probably their smaller guys when you look at them on film, but those guys can run and are physical. But our offense did what they had to do. And we talked about it all week. It's going to be, we're not going to score a lot of points, but we got to find a way to take time off the clock and not give their offense the ball right back. And we did that.
You talked about holding your composure, handling adversity. Second game in a row, you've had only 2 penalties, and that was a key factor. They had a stretch. They had some untimely penalties for them, and your team is doing a good job of not only holding their composure in those personal foul potential situations, but just in the course of a game, not getting penalized. That's been big.
Yeah, it is, and it's talking to your kids. Playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. Don't need any stupid penalties. And first couple games, I thought we killed ourselves with that. We had, I think, 9 or 10 the first game, 8 or 9 the second game. But when you only have 2 penalties a game, you're playing the game the way it's supposed to be. You're doing things well, and you're not killing yourself. And continue to do that. If you continue to do that, you're going to be successful, and you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot. And Pitt did that a few times with a few penalties, and we capitalized on them and made them punt the ball. So continue playing hard, play physical, play aggressive, play between the whistles and the way it's supposed to be played.
I want to ask you about special teams. Couple of aspects. First, the field goal block. Getting late in the game, around 3 minutes to go, they opt to go for a 55-yard field goal to take the lead, and probably helped it was further out because they're trying to get a little more distance and kicked it a little bit lower, but great surge there, and Daniel able to get in there and get his hand on it.
It was, and it's something we worked on all week. They kept putting their long side, their 4 guys to the field, and then didn't switch their wings. Like we'll switch our wings back and forth just to make the angle a little bit different, but it's something we worked on all week. The guy's going to step down, come right over his leg, and sell out, and he did. He didn't even have to lay out for that one. He just got a great jump on the ball. Snap wasn't great. Kind of took a little bit of time with catching the snap and putting it down, but it was perfect. He got his hands on it, blocked it, and we did what we had to do to win that game.
And Drew O'Brien banged up the week prior, kind of tweaked the groin. He punted for you, and he had some key punts that got some good rolls and good bounces that were very big. One, they returned punts pretty well, but it kind of helped flip that field position for you.
He did great. I mean, his last 2 punts were probably the most important punts of the game. We're backed up on our own 20. I think it was our 20, maybe 30, and he punted all the way down to the other 25. That's a big change of field position. Makes them have to, go a long ways, for a touchdown, and that's huge. And then the very next possession gets a great punt off, and Nate Lindsay goes down and makes a great tackle, on the return guy for a no gain. And those are huge. Those are 2 huge plays for us that change momentum of the game, change field position. It makes them run everything that they got to do. It makes them go a long way to score to win that ball game.
You played at Pittsburgh State. Coach Harris played at Pittsburgh State. Coach Ike played at Pittsburgh State. I mean, I know every win's big. Was it extra special, the fact it was Pittsburgh State?
Everybody talks about it. To me, it's just another game. I'm a Tiger now, and this is where I coach, and this is my home. And every game is big. Whether it's Washburn next week, we're going to say the same thing. You coached at Washburn for 11 years, but to me, it's still another game. You can't get too caught up in it. because you get too emotional sometimes to do things you don't want to do. So I just look at it as another football game, like we're playing anybody else, and you know, we just got to get better each week and perform at a high level, and you know, not make mistakes, and you know, go do what we can to win a ball game.
Tigers now moving forward. Washburn this Saturday won't be easy against the Ichabods, who are 1-3, so you know they're going to be desperate for a win. And we'll talk about this Saturday's matchup right after the break on Tiger Talk. Welcome back. It's our final segment on Tiger Talk as we visit with head coach Chris Brown about Fort Hays State football, all brought to you by the fine folks at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine, where the fire's always burning. Tigers in Topeka taking on the Washburn Ichabods. We won't ask you about you coaching there. You've played them enough. That's kind of water under the bridge. But an interesting week for you now. You've gotten a marquee win over a top 10 team. See how your team handles a little bit of success now, and everybody patting them on the back, telling them how good they are.
Yeah, it is, and brought them back down to earth yesterday, you know, with our meetings, and you know, it's part of it. You know, you get a big win. Hey, it's over, it's done. Now we gotta go back to work. And I told them, great win. Now we gotta work a little bit harder. You know, where are you gonna go from here? You know, we still got 7 games at least to go. Who knows if we continue to win? You get to play more, but you know, you got to get better each week. If you think you're pretty good now, you know, we're going to slip up somewhere and lose a ball game that we probably shouldn't lose, and you know, or have a chance to win and lose it. So it's going back to work. That game's done. We're moving on, and you know, we got to get better. Yeah,
that one win now changes the whole complex of the season. You're 3-1, and all of these goals that are out there are still out there for this team. That was obviously big in that regard, but now you got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, they are reachable. You know, every goal that we've set so far for our kids is reachable right now, and you know, we got to take care of business. We can't have a day off in practice. We can't take a day off in the weight room. We can't take a day off in the classroom. Keep doing things the way you're doing them, the correct way, and being disciplined, and you know, really putting more time and effort into it now than what you have. I mean, go watch more film, get your scouting report a little bit more, get in your playbook a little bit more, so that, you know, we get better as a team. And if we continue to get better as a team as the year goes on, I think we're going to have a pretty solid football team.
All right, Washburn is scary. I mean, you know they're good. They've had too much success for too many years to not be. And they've had some bad luck, and they've not been able to crack many wins, just 1-3. But you know they're going to be a desperate team on Saturday.
And they're a very good football team, and you know, when you watch them, they're in position to win a lot of ball games. You know, against Lindenwood, they were up, had a chance to win it, threw 2 picks, got themselves out of the game, ended up losing that game. Went to Kearney in bad weather, did a good job of winning that game in Kearney. Pittsburgh State, you know, came out fast like they did on everybody else, scored a lot of points early. And it's hard to come back. You got to change your whole game plan for them. And then, you know, they went to Southern this week, had a lot of turnovers, and that cost them, you know, some points, you know, especially down the red zone. And you know, they're just a few steps away from being a very good football team. They got great receivers. They got 3 or 4 great running backs. Their O-line's good. The quarterback's back. I think he's a 3 or 4 year starter. And then defensively, they run the ball well, and they got some guys that are, you know, solid players. So, you know, it's going to be a battle. We got to prepare ourselves this week for a battle. And go down there and, you know, not create turnovers on offense, create some turnovers on defense, and you know, play physical on both sides of the ball, and that's what we have to do.
And that seems to be the story with Washburn. Turnovers, I think, with our -5 or something like that right now, and that seems to be the difference in their season.
It is, and once they get that all cleaned up, I mean, they're going to be they're a very scary team, but once they clean all those up, you know, quit turning the ball over, they're going to be tough to beat.
And let's face it, Topeka's been a tough place for Fort Hays State over the years. There's been some good teams that have not played well. There's been some games where you felt you had a chance going in and just didn't get it done.
Right.
It's never been an easy place to play for the Tigers.
It never has, you know, and you know, we've been there a lot. I think they've been here 1 time since I've been here. This is our 3rd time going there, and you know, we need to go perform well there. You know, we just, like we did last week, don't worry about the stands, don't worry about the, you know, new jumbotron that they have. Just worry about what's going on the field, and that's it. And let's play football the way we know how to play football, and that's, you know, play physical, disciplined, you know, and you know, do the things you need to do to win the ball game.
All right, should be an interesting game Saturday afternoon at Yeager Stadium on the Washburn campus in Topeka, Fort Hays State and the Ichabods. Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We'll see you in Topeka, and best of luck this week.
Thanks, Gerard.
That's Coach Chris Brown of the Fort Hays State Tigers. Again, they'll be in Topeka to take on Washburn this Saturday afternoon, a 1 o'clock kick, and we'll be on the air at noon with the Auto World pregame show on Tiger Radio Mix 103. You can, of course, catch the video replay on Tiger Talk on Eagle Cable, Channel 14. at 10:30 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Tuesday and Wednesday night. So be sure to check that out. We'll be back on Tiger Radio Mix 103 next Monday night at 6 o'clock with another installment of Tiger Talk. The program, as it is each and every week, brought to you by the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, Taco Shop, G&L Tire and Automotive, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball CPAs, Couture for Men and Women, BTI, and James Motor Company. For head coach Chris Brown, this is Gerard Walbrock saying good night on Tiger Talk.
It's the Fort Hays State University Coaches Show on Eagle Community Television, brought to you by Eagle Communications.